This is the new space. I moved my office, obviously, so this is the next gen desk office space. I recently got a new position at a different organization, and it's fully remote. So I will be working here pretty much every day, with the exception of obviously going out and shooting and, some odds and ends like that. So I decided to change where I was going to be, upgrading it a bit. We have a TV mount, as well as some better soundproofing in here, so I can be louder. As you saw from yesterday's video, I've been getting into the idea of experimenting with payloads on the drone. Yesterday was the V1 test. As you also know, if you'd seen previously, I lost a drone, sadly, to a car. It was not really an intentional, it wasn't something cool, I didn't crash it, it just fell off my car. It was the classic, put the gallon of milk on top of the car and take off and forget it was there, fell off, got hit by a car, so it's gone. So I've been a little bit apprehensive just in the last week or so with the idea of taking any risk with a drone, just because I'm not really looking forward to losing another one. But that subsided, so now I'm gonna try doing some payload things with it, particularly mounting a GoPro on top. Now, yesterday's was purely can I lift it? What's the flying like? What does it feel like? I wasn't trying to do anything fancy. And today I had a better idea, but it was super windy all afternoon. Very sunny, perfect GoPro conditions, because GoPros are really terrible in anything other than like kind of these perfect sort of conditions, mainly dark conditions, and today was super sunny, but it was very windy, so I was unable to do anything. So here I am. Anyways, I don't really have anything other to talk about except for what's sort of on my mind right now, which is the subject of headphones. Yes, indeed, headphones. Believe it or not, this is a pair of Studio Sony dynamic headphones, MDR 7506, which Sony is always known for having their very sexy and memorable names. I had just previously purchased a pair of 1000X M4s. I was really impressed with the noise cancellation with them, but I returned them because frankly, I'm just not a this kind of guy headphone thing. So when it comes to editing and mixing audio, you want something more like these studio headphones, which I already have a pair of. I didn't even have to purchase these. These were just already on deck. I just had them away and hadn't been using them for who knows why. But you want something with a flat EQ, no fancy bass EQ, nothing. It's just very basic. It's like the most pure version of sound. Consumer headphones, to make things sound better, the way they typically compete is they will do different kind of EQs. Like you might get a little bit more bass, you might get a little bit more high end or mid range, depending on sort of what they're advertising. And some more premium headphones now are starting to adapt based on what you're listening to. So they might change the EQ based on what it thinks the prominent sound frequency is coming through. So when you're mixing stuff, you don't want it to do anything. You want to do those things yourself because you're creating music. So I have a pair of the studio headphones. I've wanted to get a good pair of just kind of luxury headphones, if you will, for when I am doing more just editing stuff, because when you wear headphones for hours on end, you get ear fatigue, which is usually from just, them pushing on your ear, or if they're heavier headphones. So I wanted like a nice, big, classic, cushioned, comfortable pair of headphones. Now these ones, which are the XB950N1s from Sony, I've had forever since I got them in 2017. They were very luxury headphones. They're super bass heavy, but they're extremely comfortable. They have a very long battery life, and they're wireless, which is also key here because I'm not a big fan of having a wire if I'm standing up to go to the bathroom during long, work sessions. Anyway, so I decided to replace them. This is going somewhere, okay? Just hold on. So I had these, and I thought, you know what? I'm gonna put a little extra cash, just whatever, and I'm gonna buy a pair. So I bought the 1000X M4s. I got them, and I returned them because, some of you all out there are going to cringe when I say this, but I instead went for a pair of AirPod Pro second generation. So these are the second generation of the AirPod Pros. I have had AirPod Pros for a couple years now. Very favorite headphone. They have a 4-hour battery life internally, and then a 3-hour battery life in a 30-hour battery life in the case. Great noise cancellation, but specifically what I like about them is they have a transparency mode, so you can push it and it lets in outside sound that comes in your ear. Now, what I've discovered about the second generation of these, which is the reason that totally took me a left turn from pursuing the more standard luxurious headphones. Let me backtrack a little bit. The new Sonys that I bought were just as comfortable as these, right? The noise cancellation was great, but it was pretty comparable to the ones that I already had from 2017. But the transparency mode on the new headphones weren't amazing. My old AirPods were already better than those. But the new AirPods, not only have they improved the sound quality of these drastically to the point where they pretty much have the same lows and sub lows as a premium set of over-the-ear headphones, but the transparency mode, okay, the transparency mode on these new AirPods is so borderline magic. All right, it's the closest thing that I have experienced to having bionic ears, and let me tell you why. They have a new chip in these, which is the H2 chip, which Apple advertises has like a 2 billion transistors or whatever, who cares? But it samples the audio at 48,000 times a second through tiny little speakers on the outside of the actual headphone itself. 48,000 times, which is, I guess, 240 times faster than the last headphone. So what all this means is that when you put in the headphones previously and you switch it to transparency mode, it's feeding all this information into your ears, right? It's feeding that on top of the music. So you can still be listening to music, but you can still hear people talking. But these new ones, when you put on that transparency mode, first of all, because of the improved quality of the actual sound and the improved quality of the computer chip inside the headphone and what it's feeding in from the outside is so effective that it feels like the headphones disappear off your head. It completely sounds like you are not wearing headphones whatsoever. The other part of it is because it has that super fast processor time, it's able to make decisions about the audio that's going into the microphone and essentially into your ear in real time. So if you're out in the city, let's say, and an ambulance goes by and it's very loud, it can stifle that particular frequency separately and make it quieter. A dog barks, it'll quiet the dog barking to a lower level. Now, I'd heard all of this stuff, but actually putting it to the test was really spooky, because the first time I actually experienced it was when I went in to, I had headphones in, I was listening to music on a low volume, I put it in the transparency mode, I went on the couch, Sam was watching Sons of Anarchy, I was sitting there, it has a certain conversation detection, so it'll make decisions about what it's bringing in and what it's stifling out. So I put it into a analytical sort of noise canceling with that conversation detection. And I was able to hear her speaking to me on the couch as if I was not wearing headphones through that transparency mode, but the sound of Sons of Anarchy was as if the TV was completely muted. It was, I mean, I was impressed. I had just bought these to sort of test them, you know, I'm a hands-on person. I buy and return a lot of things all the time just because I have to test it. I can't just rely on reviews and make a final decision. But that one situation of sitting there and having a conversation with Sam as if I wasn't wearing headphones, clear as day, while still listening to music, but then having background noise like a TV show completely 100% muted, and all of that feel as natural as if I was going insane, right? I'm sure there's other products that are maybe not as commercial, that are on the market of some kind. But again, this was one of those moments, and I think every decade or so with new technologies, and as technology advances, you have that, wow, this feels like magic experience, and this is the most profound version of that I've come across. So ultimately, these are the keeper. I know they are very different. I ultimately the decision was made that these are going to be just as fine for the Comfort Long editing. I already have these as studio monitors for the actual, like, okay, it's time to now mix the audio for a video. And then these are just for, I don't know, everything else. The gym. Oh, and they also improved the battery life to be 6 hours, so it just gets better from there. Other than that, these are the same as the other thing. So, you know, I don't know. I know people tend to hate Apple because it's overpriced. I get it. These are only $200. I don't think that's terribly expensive when some of these headphones are going for $450 at this point, you know, even from non-Apple companies. So I don't think it's that crazy. And if you're someone like me who is, I prefer my headphones to be non-invasive because I don't have long commutes. I don't necessarily, you know, walk outside all day. I don't know. I like to listen to headphones when I'm doing the dishes, when I'm going into a store. I'm listening to podcasts in very small periods of time in my day as I'm interacting with the world. So the idea of transparency mode and to still be able to have quick conversations, to hear Caden, to go into a store and have a conversation with the cashier and not have to turn off my podcast or my music or all of that, to have something that so seamlessly can process all of that data for me into my ears. I mean, it's just a no-brainer. It's such a no-brainer product for me. I already used my previous AirPods so much, and these just knock it out of the park. And I have to say again, they improved the sound quality of them so much. They sound vastly better. By far the best actual, you know, like EarPod headphones that I've ever used, hands down. I mean, they sound as good as any of the premium headphones that I've put on the market. Audio technology is just getting so unbelievable, and as we put these faster computer chips into things, I mean, who knows? I mean, we're getting into a whole new world. So, all right. I hope you found that interesting. Maybe not. But if you're in the market for headphones, everybody's different. Everybody has a different usability factor for headphones. But as far as technology, that was a pretty cool experience.